And a very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Issues and Attitudes. My name is Jeff Owens, Director at WEIU. Today, we're going to be talking to Charleston Area Chamber of Commerce President and CEO, Colleen Peterlich. Welcome, Colleen.
Thank you.
And also,
happy to be here.
Her first appearance and making a third, maybe?
Third it is.
Jeremy Alexander. He is the Tour De Charleston Chairman. He's also an employee here at the Eastern Illinois University. So welcome both of you to the show.
Thank you.
So we're going to pull you up a little closer to those mics. I'll turn you up a little. I guess we'll start a little bit with, since Colleen, you're still the new in my world of the Charleston Chamber Director. So talk about how your first few months and being named director and how everything's going.
Everything's going well. I love it. It's very busy. I'm always doing something new. For example, this morning we had a ribbon cutting at Thrifty Finds, and now I'm here a couple hours later, and at 4 o'clock I have an exec meeting. So my days go fast. The people are awesome. I'm learning a lot. All's good.
There you go. And Thrifty Finds is a new business here in Charleston?
It is. 410 7th Street. It's a gently used store. Samantha Buell is the owner, Charleston native, and stop by and check it out.
There you go. And you're here, Jeremy, because the Tour de Charleston again is coming up next month. I think the last Saturday in September, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah, September 28th. Looking forward to it.
So for folks who do not know, maybe new to the community, new professors on campus or people in the community, what is the Tour de Charleston? Give us the W's on that one.
Yeah, the Tour de Charleston is a bike event. A lot of people call it a bike race, and there are folks that are going to be racing, but we do, cyclists do 3 different routes. We have a 12.5 mile route, a 25 mile route, and a 50-mile route. The 50 is going back to its original route, going south of Charleston, exploring some of the hills and the north side of Cumberland County and coming back up. And then new last year and returning again this year is the kids race. We received a lot of positive comments about the kids being able to participate, and it was just a small race from as far as 10th Street back to the square. So it's a really cool opportunity for cyclists to see our community, our neighborhood, and also to get folks participating and volunteering in a couple of different ways.
Now, how many years has the tour been going on now? Do you know?
I participate.
It's the 8th annual.
Right. I was going to do quick math in my head. I was like,
that's what I was thinking. Well, and I think both of you can answer this, but when you think about, Charleston has really become a biking and hiking destination now, and so it just makes sense to have something like the Tour de Charleston.
Yeah, we have a pretty active cyclist community in Charleston. We have a number of different groups that meet on different days and go on different rides for different paces. So we have a group that will just go out and try to do 20 plus mile per hour average for 20 plus miles, and then you have groups that are going to be purely social, that are just riding, talking, and just doing a little bit of time in community.
Now, do you get a ride this year, or do you have to?
This year, I've taken a more direct role in helping to plan and looking out for the safety of our participants. So I'm not going to be riding, but I'm fit, but not going to be riding this year. Just going to be looking out for folks this year.
Nothing wrong with that.
And watching your son.
And watching my son.
Is he racing?
Yeah, he rode in the kids race last year, and post kids race he wouldn't stop riding his bike. But so he's actually been looking forward to it, and it's really cool to see the little ones participate. That
is cool. Kelly, what about other events that are coming up through the chamber that you have in terms of openings and after hours and events?
Yes, this week Wednesday, Jackson Avenue Coffee. We meet once a month, 7:30 to 9 a.m. on a Wednesday. I believe it's the second Wednesday of the month. We have after hours. It's a joint after hours with the Mattoon and Charleston Chamber of Commerce at Casey Summers this Thursday from 5 to 7. Keith Summers always does an amazing job, puts on a great event. If you're out and about, stop by. I highly recommend it. Tour de Charleston, as we just spoke about. Scare on the Square will be coming up in October. Community breakfast, date to be determined in either November or December.
And that's the one they're hoping to do at Emerald Acres, correct? Is that one?
That is
trying to, yeah.
Yes, we are working on that.
Well, I have folks from Emerald Acres coming in next Monday, so maybe they can hopefully give us a
I meet with them on the 22nd, so.
There you go. With people who don't know what a Chamber of Commerce does, and this kind of goes into you being new there, can you tell us, what a chamber does and the kind of the benefits to the community that a strong chamber does?
What we try to do is keep our local businesses notified of what's going on, keep the networking, having events so they can all be together, meet each other, see how they can help one another. Just being friendly, being open, answering any questions if they're a new business coming into town. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about your background. You worked here at Eastern for a lot of years, and then you were just recently named the Chamber President and CEO. Talk about how your working at Eastern has helped you in the Chamber job.
Oh, very much so. I met the new fire chief last week out in front of my office, and he said, "You worked at Eastern?" And I said, "I did." And he said, "You did my wedding." And I said, "What's your name?" And he told me. And but it had been 10 years ago, so he cut me a little bit of slack. But just knowing the people, doing what I did at Eastern, and then this just carries on in our community.
Okay.
So.
Jeremy, let's go back to the Tour de Charleston. What are you expecting? I mean, I know everybody likes to beat what they did last year in terms of number of riders. So you have some goals and expectations. How many people actually taking part?
Yeah, I'd love to get to that 300 mark. We've been wanting to get to that level for the last couple of years. We know that our most popular race continues to be about the 25-mile race, because for the fit is usually about a 1-hour commitment, because the race is about the bike ride, certainly, but it's also about bringing people into the community and experiencing what we have. We try to have a little bit of a party going on the square, so we'll have a number of different activities happening afterwards, and we have also activities to keep the whole family engaged, because again, it's not about the racers themselves. The racers themselves are going to have a lot of fun, I hope, but it's about those who are going to be there. So bring your family. There are going to be folks who will ride in any one of the races that will ride with multiple individuals from their families. I remember seeing on the 25, seeing a whole group of the family just riding and having a great time. The 12 and the 25, 12.5 and the 25 are very flat routes, so folks can do that relatively easy. The 50 will require you to be a little trained, and it's about a 2.5, 3 hour commitment for the folks who are a little bit better trained.
And what time does that start on the 28th?
Most of the major races are going to be kicking off at 9. The kids race are going to be kicking off a little bit earlier in about 8 o'clock hour, so that we want people to see the kids race. We want parents who have brought their kids with them to see them, cheer them along, maybe even ride with them if we're not cluttering up the road. But we're looking out to try to make sure that all are having a great time when they're there.
I know you're not racing this year, but when you've ridden in the past years, can you talk about some of the highlights that people see along the main routes? So
with the 25, you're going up to Bushden, Reardon, and you're coming back around. So it's really a lot of it is flatlands, and you do come back up Quarry Road. So there's a little bit of a hill where a lot of folks try to go really fast up and try to do some separation. So that's the route. For our 50-mile, you go south to Lerna, Jonestown, then come up on the north side of the Cumberland County, cross over into cross 130, and then you come back up Harrison Hill. So you actually get to see a lot of really interesting things. Is one thing about driving past a place in a car where you're on the interstate where you're really not seeing what's happening. On a bicycle, you're going slow enough that you can actually take in the sights. For those who are racing for glory, they may be going a little bit faster and a little bit more hypoxic and not paying attention to what's happening beside them. But some folks are just going to be riding along, enjoying the community of having other cyclists who are riding along, enjoying their day.
Do you have needs? Anybody that volunteer needs or anything along the route?
Yes.
So we will. The chamber, I assume?
Yep. We'll have some information about how to register to volunteer. We need folks who are looking out for our riders and folks in a number of different aspects. We'll need folks on a square to help out with a variety of things on the day, but we also need folks to help out with the race, looking out for the safety and well-being of the participants, identifying road hazards. There are a couple of spots where we're crossing streets where we need to be able to say, oh, hey, racers, you probably don't want to cross this at this particular
Safety
moment.
first, for sure.
We want people to have fun, but to be safe.
Yeah. And I know a lot of the kids in high school can get credit hours for doing this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Helping out. So.
Yes, different groups we usually use from Charleston High School and from EIU, different athletes
Cool.
come and help us.
Just contact the chamber if you'd like to help and volunteer. At September 28th, the Tour de Charleston here in Charleston. Small businesses are kind of like the lifeblood of every community. I know you guys have a big shop local part of the chamber. Can you talk about that?
Yes. businesses is how we stay afloat. This past month, we've had 7 new members. Leon Gobzinski from State Farm, Samantha Beal, Thrifty Finds, we just talked about that, did her ribbon cutting this morning. Rocks, Ikes, and Bellies, owned by Tammy and Brandon Bell, just joined. Zen Business, Kirchner Building Center, their
New office looks great,
their
doesn't
new
it?
office, it is beautiful. Drake Homes and Kirchner's did a really, really nice job. Our house, and then we have Kingspan Insulated Panels. I meet with them tomorrow at 10 a.m. For a photo op. They're a sponsor of the Tour de Charleston. So
That's cool. Yeah. What's the best part of your job so far, being the new chamber director?
the people,
People?
being out in the community, the people, the relationships.
Is there a tough part? Is there tough decisions or tough part of your job since you just started?
A little bit of the business backside of things. That is a part, and then there's always a part of a job that you don't necessarily like, but you do.
Yep.
So
You
I'm
gotta count all that
I'm
stuff, yeah.
learning daily.
I understand.
Got to do the whole job, right?
I do. I don't have to do. Yeah, I wish.
Now,
I
do
could
you
just-
have need for staff and/or directors or any volunteers that are right now?
We always will take a volunteer. I have an executive director, Ray Lugo. She started with us in May. I have a Charleston High School intern starting September 2nd, Mia Hines, and I have an EIU senior starting August 20th, and her name is Alexis Davis
Cool.
from Robinson. So
That's awesome.
I will be fully staffed.
You talked about some of the new businesses. Have you heard anything coming down the pike? Maybe we always like to ask on this show, is there any good news coming to Charleston in terms of potential new businesses?
I've heard some rumors, but I would prefer not to say. Lincoln Avenue is looking wonderful with the new Amico station and Jersey Mike's, and we did the ribbon cutting for Sonic.
And Sonic's kind of
July
unbelievable.
23rd. It is absolutely beautiful. And the company, the head of HR walked into my office a couple months ago, and when she told me who she was, I was so excited because I drive by there probably 18, 20 times a day. And I said, I knew I'd still need steel-toed shoes and a hard hat to get in there because they've been working. And she goes, you're my first stop. And came in and we did the ribbon cutting. They made 2 big donations to do two non-for-profits
that, yeah.
in Charleston. And I knew both of the people, and all I said to them is that Sonic would be making a donation, and it was in their best benefit if they could be there. Well, they thought $100, $500. It was $5,000. They were both.
And that type building is going to be the prototype, I guess. The one they're.
Yeah, it's the first one in Charleston for their new prototype.
Hopefully they can do the same thing to the Mattoon one if it's been there a while. It needs upgrade. I'll just say that.
It does.
Farmers Market will
Market's
go on through
going-
September, right?
Yes,
Talk about the
this
details.
Saturday will be our 13th week. It's going well. We have 43 vendors. They're not always there at the same time, but you can give or take usually 30 to 35, 40 vendors at a time. We have tomatoes, we have corn, we have sourdough bread, fresh flowers. There's all kinds of crafts. We have a wallet maker. They're all hand sewn. His craftsmanship is beautiful. So come on.
When you hear that a new business is moving in and maybe they haven't joined the chamber yet, do you still go by there and try
I
to
do.
convince them? Can you talk about the good stuff? Like, what do you say? Do you have a Colleen Peterlich pitch that you?
I just walk up and say, hi, I'm Colleen Peterlich from the Charleston Chamber. I just wanted to welcome you to Charleston if there's anything we can do. And then, of course, I always have my little packet that I leave with them because I don't want to put them on the spot.
Yeah.
But I first and foremost, I want to welcome them to town. We need to all work together and make it even better than it is.
Let's say that you're having one of those days. Do you have somebody you can call? Do you have like advice or a mentor? Is it Jeremy or is it somebody in the community, somebody back home or wherever?
My mentor who kind of got me started in with the chamber things, my son Jimmy is a diplomat, so obviously I drive him to most of the events, and because I'm there I always help to volunteer. But Tina Held, she's been
She's awesome, yeah.
past president multiple times, and she's still on the exec board, and I send her little texts or little emails quite often, and she's more than helpful to answer them and help me navigate through the situation.
Now, Jeremy, so you're not riding this year. I mean, next year you'll be back. Are you gonna continue the?
Oh, he might like it so much he might stay as the chair.
Yeah, we'll definitely see on that. This year just had some other personal goals that prevented me from riding and or racing, but I still ride my bikes with the community because it's still a good time. The folks that I ride with, we have a group that rides every Thursday. They do mountain biking on a Tuesday, and they also have a bi-weekly ride on a Wednesday, and we have a Sunday ride. So we get in our rides. We just I might not be racing, but a lot of the folks in those groups, and we're connected with a variety of different cyclist groups, and so.
What led you to the sport of cycling and being a rider?
I was always an athlete growing up. I know that the Olympics are wrapping up. Originally from Jamaica, I did track. Growing up, I came to college to do track, and I got a job and became a little bit sedentary and wanted to do something to keep active. Got into cycling about 11 years ago here in Charleston, and it's how I've actually gotten to know the community. I mean, again, going back to I drive by, and so you drive by stuff, but you cycle. It's like, oh, you really learn and see some stuff.
You said you wanted to get to the number 300. How many were you at last year? How close were you to the 300 riders?
I think we were at 220-ish last year, and I think it's coming from getting back off of the COVID hangover. Our numbers dwindled when we started back, I think, in 21, and it has grown. And we've continued to learn lessons from some mishaps or just things that didn't go as well as we intended. And so we continue to try to use rider feedback and also the feedback of folks who are working behind the scenes to try to put on a better event.
How do you market the tour so you get maybe some people from, the Terre Haute, Indianapolis, St. Louis to come and take part in Charleston?
The cyclist community, we are pretty connected. We have our own social media that we're also on Strava. And so we use our connections with folks that we've ridden with. Some of us are involved in other teams, racing teams, so we talk to them that way. And then some just good old-fashioned word-of-mouth marketing. The Tour de Charleston is a really fun, safe ride for a lot of folks, and that's what they're looking for, so they put it on their calendar. I know some people also just want to have bragging rights at church, and so they show up and they're like, I'm going to win. It's like, all right, go for it.
Dumbest question probably here. Obviously, in every sport, there's the elite, the best. Have you ever thought of inviting like a Olympian or a champion to be kind of like someone that people would want to come and race against? Or
there's certainly aspirations around that. I have friends who will say, when are you going to ride in the Tour de France? It's like, I am not even within the same zip code as some of those guys and gals. As we continue to refine the event and build it, I think we'll start to do some things with that. There's additional things that we'll have to do to be able to start to attract that kind of top-level talent. Like I said, we're not a race. We are a community ride. But if we start to get to the race level, then you start to have elite athletes that may show some interest.
That's cool. Let's talk about afterwards. I know it's kind of like a party downtown. There's vendors and stuff, and that kind of just came about the last few years, if I recall.
It is. We call it our festival after the race festival. It will be at Mike and Stan's in that outdoor area just to the east of Mike and Stan's. Accent Ground is going to be playing for us for a couple of hours. They're a local band. They opened for Jake Maurer the last 2 years at the fairgrounds. So we're happy to have them. We'll have a Bubba's food truck. It's American food. We'll have that. Apparently last year they had several food trucks, and it was asked to just have one this year to make it more viable for the one. So we'll be doing that. We'll have their medals and awards. We'll have a bounce house at the children's race for them, the ones waiting and the ones afterwards to do. So come out. I hope we have as good a weather as we had last year. It was fabulous.
We've been lucky so far this year. A little too much rain for a while, but better than 112 all summer. Right? Yeah. Someone can walk in the chamber and get some information. Maybe people looking to move here or start a business. You have packets available and things like that.
I do. I get all kinds of questions. That's been to me the funniest. People think I know everything. I do not. I'll be the first one to say that. But I may not know the answer, but I typically can send you in the right direction to get the right answer for you. But yes, call me. We get a lot of calls And the first question I ask is, are you calling Charleston, South Carolina, or Charleston, Illinois? And they say, well, of course, Charleston, South Carolina. And I laugh, and then they usually laugh when I tell them that they've called Illinois. And I have their number to the Chamber of Commerce right in front of me, because I give it probably at least once a week.
I remember when I was on the board there, it was amazing that the same thing, they wanted charlestonchamber.com, but the people in Charleston, Illinois got it first. I always remember that story. That's kind of cool.
So
when you're working with Eastern and Coles Together, Mattoon, and other chamber directors, what is the idea when you collaborate and talk about our great communities of Coles County?
just see what they're doing, what works for them, what might perhaps work for us, collaborate together, use the resources that they have instead of maybe creating something brand new, taking an idea that they had that worked and building on it and working together. So I meet with Nora Swalls next week, or this Friday, for lunch. She's the chamber president in Marshall, Illinois. So
Okay.
I look forward to meeting her.
Do you attend a lot of workshops or is there training, or is you just kind of learning?
It's just kind of learn as you go. I have been to a couple of workshops. I think we're busy enough that it's hard to be out of the office a lot, because there's enough to do here
Makes
for
sense.
our current members and hopefully new members.
The
that are
chamber
new
still
to
do trips as well anymore? Are they doing the trips? No trips.
No.
Okay. Jim, when we got you here, you're obviously working at Eastern, and you said that you've been busy in your office. So talk about what you do here at Eastern, and school starts next Monday. Believe it or not, here everybody's kind of crazy. So this is a crazier week than usual. So talk about your job at Eastern.
Certainly. I serve as the Associate Director for Residence Life, Senior Associate Director here. And so we've been working at least since the end of July with our Residence Life staff getting prepared for move-in. It's move-in week. And we've been saying that for years because right now we have a little short of 300 individuals already moved back to campus. By the time that we open on Thursday, we'll have about 40-ish% of our students already back to help our students move in on Thursday. And then we'll welcome the rest of our community to Charleston. And it's been phenomenal. There's just a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes to welcome our new Panthers and their families to campus and getting them acclimatized.
We're on 9th Street here at Buzzard, so I know just south of us is they have put on this big, it's almost like a fair now.
Yeah.
Is that open to the public or just the Charleston or just Eastern students? Do you know?
It's primarily geared towards our students, but if folks showed up, I don't think they'll say no.
Okay. And that's Friday and Saturday?
Yes.
As we said. Okay. Anything else about your job you want to talk about on campus? So what you do with students and things?
When we think about welcoming our students, it's a lot of things that goes into with making partnerships, even with our folks in the community. And I know that the entire community gets really excited when EIU opens back up because there's a vibrancy that happens when students are back on campus. So looking forward to welcoming students, and I'm hopeful that we have a wonderful year throughout the various things that we'll know. For us, the two most exciting days for housing and dining really is move-in day and move-out day. Move-in day primarily because there's just a level of excitement. Move-out day because graduation is right next to it, and we get to celebrate in the achievement of many of our students.
You have in mind about the next question for Colleen is, school's coming back in terms of Eastern and Lakeland, so a lot of new people in the community. So as you talk to Charleston businesses, are they excited about the fact there's new people, new money? And
Yes, and new workers for a lot of our businesses. The students come back, the help wanted and hiring signs are all over, and they take advantage of it.
Well, it's a big issue right now going on in both of our cities, Mattoon and Charleston, is the need for employment. So I don't think it'll be hard for a student to get a job in either community this fall.
No, right.
Unless they just don't want to work, right?
And there are those.
Yes,
There are some, yeah. Are you a goal setter? Do you set goals, Colleen?
I do, sometimes too high. But why not set it high?
Well, you don't want to shoot too low, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
Have you thought about your management style now that you've had a few months under your belt? If I was going to ask Jeremy or somebody else on the exec board, how's your management style over the Charleston Chamber of Commerce? What do you think they'd say?
I think I'm open. I think I'm friendly. I don't want anybody to not walk in the door because they don't want to ask a question. No question is a stupid question. When they say, I have a stupid question, no question's stupid. If you don't know the answer, ask the question. So come in and ask.
We have a few minutes left today. We're talking to Jeremy Alexander, the chairman of the Tour de Charleston, coming up in September, and Colleen Peterlich, the executive director of the Charleston Chamber of Commerce. Anything else that I forgot that you want to talk about that in either of the two events that we may have slipped over the past half hour? I don't want anything to get by us.
Sure. Always looking for volunteers, but if you know anyone who has a bicycle who likes to ride, come out and enjoy the race. We'll have a lot of folks there to try to look towards folks' safety, and we just want to show off that cycling is a very accessible sport. Yes, you will have the folks who will be riding around on bikes that cost way too much and want to go way too fast, and they're into it, but come check it out. It's usually really wonderful weather. The last several years, at least, it has been, and see what ride around Charleston and then hang out with folks who just like to be fit or just want to have a nice, fun, casual Saturday morning bike ride.
There you go. Good answer.
And I would say whether you're a new business to town or a veteran business in town and you're not a chamber member, come in and see me. We'll have a cup of coffee. We'll have an iced tea. We'll talk. I can see if you're interested in getting involved with the community and meeting new people.
There you go. All right, we'll finish up with rapid fire questions. We'll go Colleen first, then Jeremy.
Okay.
Your first car.
My first car was given to me by my sister. It was a 75 Vega hatchback.
Wow.
And my dad said, if anything happens to it, just call the tow truck.
I'm a little bit younger, but it's a 1992 Subaru Green Wagon.
There you go. Last concert you attended?
Oh, Ed Sheeran in Nashville, Tennessee. My son and daughter-in-law took me there. Amazing.
Jimmy Eat World and Hoser at, I can't even remember the venue, but it's in St. Louis.
There you go. Favorite all-time athlete? High school, pro, college, don't care.
I don't know. I like a lot of sports. I'm a Cubs fan.
Go Cubs. May get a few thoughts on that one.
I don't know. I'd have to think about that.
I'm going to go with Usain Bolt.
I was going to say, have you met him?
I've ran against Usain Bolt
really?
growing up. We were competitors in high school, and I can claim that I have beaten Usain Bolt, but I'm older than him, started running before him, and he's a lot better of a runner than I am.
But you beat Usain Bolt. That should just be on your business card, man. Yeah.
Back in high school, he can probably get out of bed faster than I can run a race.
Best thing about Charleston?
It's my hometown.
I think the community, I'm a transplant here. I didn't know where Charleston was on a map before, but I think the community, both here on campus and the individuals in the community, has been wonderful. 15 years, loved it.
Real quick, food you will not eat?
Liver.
Beans.
All right. Well, thank you both for being in today. Colleen, welcome to, not really to the community, but welcome to the new job of the Charleston
Thank you.
Chamber.
I appreciate that.
Jeremy, good to see you. Good luck on the race.
All right, thank you.
We are WEIU.